It's time for Bull Sessions, brought to you by Willcross Seed, your weekly hour-long excursion into all things agricultural, from farming to livestock, soil to seed, equipment to rural life. Now here's your hosts, Randy Baker and agronomist Brad Law.
Brad, we made it another week. What do you think? Week 4.
Week 4. Well, we made it here, and I've got this paper here, and it's pink, Randy. Do you know why that piece of paper is pink?
I've got an idea, but tell us.
Okay, well, did you know that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month?
I did. I think the current edition, October edition of Brad's Bull newsletter is even on pink paper. That's why I knew something jarred me about that.
Well, we figured out how to get that all on the pink paper, and we sent that out here for the first of the month. And we sent that out, and if anybody would like to be on that mailing list, send me an email at bull@willcross.net, and we'll get you included on that. We're sending paper copies to customer, or we can send out email copies, whatever works best for you. But we talked about breast cancer awareness, right. And I know my father had passed away from complications with cancer, and everybody's family has been touched. So we just like to make awareness of that, and not asking for anything, just, spread the word that it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and early detection is the key. Well, what is our topics and stuff for the week, Randy?
I don't know. What
you
are
don't
we going
know?
to talk about? No, I think...
Well, you were telling me you were talking to some guy out in Kansas, weren't you?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I did. He sent me a text message a while ago. He's growing our non-GMO Willcross 9232 food-grade soybean. He said that he had run the first 80 acres. They was running between 65 and 70 bushel.
Ooh-wee.
Let's hope that's an indicator of the yields coming at us this fall. That's just the first one I've got, so that's a big deal.
Well, and
big deal.
Is that a premium bean?
That is a premium bean.
That is a premium bean. So that's even more. That's going to cause tax problems, Randy.
That's going to put him into tax.
And think of the long lines at to haul grain and stuff with yields like that.
That's a bad problem.
Those are bad problems. It's just going to cause problems for everybody.
I told him about that, and he said he thought he could handle it.
He could handle it.
He would make it happen.
Now, what do they usually grow out in Kansas? When I think of Kansas, I think of wheat.
Yeah, a lot of wheat.
So
wheat season is upon us.
Well, and it's getting time to put some wheat in the ground.
Do we plant now? What do we do? I mean, is it going to rain? Is it not? You remember the old timers?
Oh, yeah.
Have different sayings.
Oh, well, and I like old school sayings. You know that. And one of them is we dust in wheat and we mud in oats.
I don't like the sound of either one.
Well, planting the dust, the bins will bust.
Yeah.
And planting the mud, the crop's a dud.
Uh-huh.
And we grow so many acres of oats around here.
We do. We do.
But I like wheat as a crop. If we go back, the first ground that I farmed was on shares on my grandma. Mm-hmm. And my first crop there was wheat because it was cheap to put it in.
Well, sure.
I could afford to put it in. And we had that, and we had success with that wheat. And I've always liked to have a little bit of wheat in the rotation, because when they say a crop rotation, it's not corn beans. Corn beans is not a rotation. We need to get a third crop in there, and both of those are summer crops. And we start trying to break the cycle for disease, break the cycle for crops, and say, oh, well, let's get that 2 years, and then you put a different crop in. It just makes things better, and it just works it. Now, if we can figure this wheat out to make a little money doing it, or find some other advantages of, if that 40 acres in wheat, what could I do on that after I cut the wheat and make that field better? So that's our goal, is to either make more money or make things better so we can do better in the future.
I've seen you even put some clover in your fertilizer when you're doing that in the spring, right? When you fertilize for the...
When I top dress the wheat, you can throw about 4 to 6 pounds of clover seed in, and that'll help. Gives you a pre-seeded cover crop. You can graze it. You could bale it. Mm-hmm. You could even leave it as a cover crop, and then it's dirt cheap. It's not going to break the bank, and I like the red clover under the wheat. It just works for me, and it grows well up here. Mm-hmm. Now, before we get all the way back to what we're going to do after the wheat, the first thing we got to do, Randy, is put it in the ground.
Got to plant it.
We got to plant it. So everybody usually asks us when they come in to get wheat up the seed house is, well, how thick should I plant this wheat? You know, some people plant by seeds per pound on wheat, but not many. They shoot for 1.2 seeds per acre. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Most of our guys are
pound guys. We like poundage.
Yeah.
Okay.
120 somewhere in there. Is that what you think?
120, but the only thing is, if we get later and we want to stick with the wheat,
mm-hmm.
we want to up it a little bit later because that wheat's not, you know, to make sure with the cold weather and to get a better stand and quicker stand establishment, we want to up that.
How much
rate.
Later?
Well,
I can, you know, with mine, I've been late, so to the point I didn't even plant it.
Well, you know, there's cutoff dates for crop insurance if you're doing that game. And, you know, when you go past that, it's not really, you lose your safety net.
Sure.
So,
you're talking later October.
Late October.
Yeah.
You know, if it gets to my birthday, we need to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if it's November 1, shut her down.
Okay.
And that you can send birthday wishes to bull@willcross.net.
Okay, that's good. We plugged your birthday.
My birthday, yeah. Okay, now, you know, one other thing when we go to plant our wheat, we like to put a little bit of fertilizer out there to get things going.
Yes.
Okay, there's lots of different choices, you know, but I like to see just a little bit of on in the fall. You know, it doesn't need maybe anywhere between, you know, 20, 30 pounds of N, somewhere in there. I really like to go out there with 100 pounds of ammonia sulfate.
Mm-hmm.
I say ammonia sulfate, you think you put that in your sprayer tank, right?
Right.
Well, this is actually fertilizer grade ammonia sulfate, and it's 21% nitrogen, and it is ammonia and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your tongue's tied. Go ahead.
My tongue's tied, and it's too early for this, Randy.
Yeah.
It's got stable nitrogen that can be thrown on top of the soil and it doesn't disappear. It's stable. Okay. And then it's got 24 pounds of sulfur. Okay.
Okay.
And it's not elemental sulfur. It is sulfate sulfur. And with that, you know, you remember them diesel pickups, and the little sticker they put on the pumps at the filling station? It says ultra low sulfur diesel.
Yes.
Okay, they took sulfur out, and anybody with a newer pickup, when you step on that thing and it's supposed to go rung and blow a big old cloud of smoke.
Yeah,
it don't. The newer trucks don't blow a cloud of smoke like the older ones. You take something like one of your.
That's uncool.
I know, it's not cool. I mean. My wife liked my old 7.3 to drive it, to stomp on it, and it would blow black smoke. You know, and then the newer truck, it don't blow no smoke.
You really impressed her with that, didn't you?
Well, she liked to drive it, so. But we put sulfur. Why do we need sulfur, Randy?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, sulfur, when we talk about wheat, we look at protein. Kind of like on the food grade beans, we look at protein.
That's a big deal.
Okay. So on that protein, we have to build that protein. Well, the plant builds it with amino acids. Okay, to build those amino acids, we need the nutrients to do that. Well, there's nitrogen, calcium, and sulfur, 3 of the main building blocks, and a host of micronutrients and others that go in there. Well, if that sulfur isn't there from free acid rain, your plant can have lower protein. So we like to put some sulfur out. I put sulfur on my corn, I put it on my beans, I put it on my wheat, I put it on pasture, I put it on hay ground. I just get it in there.
So it's a big deal with you.
It is, and I've got a higher magnesium soil, and that extra sulfur can bond with that magnesium and leach it off via Epsom salts.
Are these high dollar deals?
It is
the
not.
Sulfur, I mean, with our wheat prices the way they are, I don't know anything could happen, I guess, but we don't know for sure.
Well,
Bradley, Miles
what?
said we got to take a little break right now, so hang on to your thought
more
again.
On sulfur.
Yep, we'll talk more about sulfur on the wheat when we come back to Bull Sessions on 680 KFEQ.